One man army, Rambo. Baby walking like Naomi Campbell. I be like a sailor, swimming in the money. I was broke, won't go back. This a throwback, by the gold in cold beer, baby hold that. I'm not there yet, but I'm so close. Shine your light on me, I'm lost. Feeling around in the dark. I can feel it, I'm so close. I can feel it in my bones and that. Move our bodies 'cause we own the night.
Welcome back to the Twist of Fate podcast, where you can find your inspiration to make your dreams come true. Today, we're talking about something that all you couch potatoes are taking for granted: wellness. That being both physical, mental, and a lot of attributes that it takes to be a well-greased entrepreneur. And I can tell you, my friend that I invited here embodies all the above. There's a lot of things you're about to learn about your own physical health, about your own mental health, and about the rigors it takes to be the best at what you do. Kenny, my friend, welcome to Twist of Fate.
Dude, that was a great introduction. I mean, you are definitely a pro at this shit.
We all learn along the way and
Yeah.
continue to learn.
It was
for sure.
great. It was great. I've done a lot of podcasts, and that was a banger of an introduction.
Let me tell you this, though.
Shoot.
If you take me in an Iron Man with you, you're not going to have the same opinion. You're not going to have the same opinion. So
Well,
I'm
listen,
one of
we all
those
have
couch
our
potatoes.
strengths. We all have our strengths.
So Kenny, why don't you tell my audience a little bit about the things that you're doing to enhance your own fitness?
Yeah.
Some of your clients are some really big names.
Mhm.
So how you make them the best at what they do?
So I always like to start off with the idea that, because people tend to see somebody who's in really good shape and they're like, well, they have great genetics and it came easy to them. And by no means did it ever come easy. I have shit genetics. Everyone in my family's overweight.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You grew up like overweight or something?
Yeah.
Or-
I was fat as a kid. Yeah. I was very fat as a kid. And I still struggle with it today. Like those fat kid tendencies come out, when I'm at Angeloni's eating pizza.
That's some pizza?
Yeah.
Some
I'm
pizza
like,
will bring the worst out of you?
I would love 2 or 3 more slices. I mean, like, we all want to overindulge, but it's a level of discipline, and we kind of sacrifice now for a better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a lot of people miss out on, is that opportunity to be like, hey, well, I can make tomorrow better if I just sacrifice a little bit today. And that's business, that's fitness, that's everything.
That's life, brother.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. So why the change then? What made you as a young man say, I'm gonna get my ass up. I'm gonna make something of myself. I'm gonna lose that weight. I'm gonna cut that weight. I'm gonna sacrifice. What inspired you to do that? Because you don't have to.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot of us don't do that.
A lot of people don't. And there was a moment when, and I'll never forget it like it was yesterday, I was looking in the mirror and I was about 12, 13 years old, and I just hated what I saw. And I said to myself, and I realized this at a very young age, I go, if I don't like myself, how could I expect this girl that I liked in school to like me? I need to change it. And I swear, I said to myself that moment, I go, as soon as I get to high school, I'm gonna work out every day and do everything I could. And I made that promise to myself. And it's like, I'm sure everyone out there probably makes promises to themselves. This year, I'm gonna get into shape. Next week, I'm gonna start. I truly meant what I said to myself. And I got to high school, I played football, I wrestled, I worked out every day. And at the time, it was like 1996, 97. You couldn't just go on Google or turn on Instagram and go look at somebody and they'll teach you everything and anything you want to know. Now is the easiest time. You have weight loss drugs, which never existed. You have social media, which never existed. I did it when it was a lot harder. Mm-hmm. So for me,
no Peloton instructor to tune in.
The apps and shit. I mean, the iPhone wasn't even a thing yet, So I had to figure it out reading books and magazines. And one of the first things I treated like a Bible was the Encyclopedia to Bodybuilding, the Arnold Schwarzenegger book. And I would take that to the gym with me, and it weighed like 6 pounds. And I'd carry it everywhere, and I would do workouts out of that, because you want to find somebody in life that, not to mimic everything they do, but to admire what they've done and realize that struggle got them to where they were. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's like, I look at entrepreneurs and people in business who I'm like, well, I'd like to have that. I don't need that exact same thing, but if I mimic a lot of the traits and habits that they have, then I'll get a little bit better at what I'm trying to do.
Did you get the girl?
Same thing with fitness. You know what? No, I didn't. I did not. But I got, I've done okay over the past couple of years.
I'm sure
I've done
you
okay. After being on television, a lot of women crawl out of the woodworks to spend some quality time with you. And, I took full advantage of that in my 20s and stuff. And then you kind of burn out of it a little bit.
Sure.
But what it does for me mentally on a daily basis is super important. And I think that's where people look at the gym. Most people look at the gym like it's a job or something they don't want to do. Whereas when you get into it, and I'm not the only one, I'm sure thousands of people could tell you this, when you start to get into that groove and you grease that groove and kind of move with it, you almost start to crave it and look forward to it. Mm-hmm. I'd say it's probably one of the most addicting habits in the world.
What is getting into it to you?
Finding that feeling when you're done with a workout, that sense of accomplishment that most people don't get on a daily basis.
What's okay? Because I got a lot of couch potato audience members. Mm-hmm. What is a workout to look like you like?
I think for me, it's more maintenance right now. A lot of the hard shit's done. Well, people think like, oh, I want to look like you, so I need to work out the same way as you. Exercise, running, training for boxing or any other sport shouldn't be looked at as a weight loss regimen. Mm-hmm. Weight loss comes from the way you eat, right? How much we take in and what we're doing. So when people are like, I want to lose weight, I'm going to start running. Don't look at running like that, because you're going to end up hurting yourself looking at running like that. If calories in, calories out. To a certain degree, is that true? Sure. But at the same time, it's like if you're running just so you could eat more shit later on, you're never going to outrun the bad diet. Mm-hmm. You need to change the habits in your diet. So for me, like...
I 100% agree with you.
I was with a client this morning, at 6 o'clock this morning, him and another guy, and we were... they were like, oh, you want to jump in with us? So I'll jump in and do some shit with them, and then I'll go to jujitsu later on, and then I'll do my own workout. I have 4 gym memberships. I eat, sleep, shit, and breathe this. So for me, it's like when somebody's like, I want to do what you do, I'm like, well, quit your job and do what I do. But like, I have to do this. It's like, I can't tell you to go run an Ironman having never done it myself. Or I can't advise you on how to go and do that if I've never done it myself. Mm-hmm. So
you have to expose yourself to all these different ways.
Yeah.
To
so I use myself as a guinea pig to go and try all this shit. And then I tell people like, well, I've done that before. This might not be the best road for you. Or if you don't want to go down that road, this is going to be a lot of work and effort and time.
But I still want to get specific.
What?
So you're in the gym every day. Mm-hmm. For you. I'm talking for you, not for your clients.
Even when I don't have work, I still go to the gym.
Because you just don't feel whole.
Exactly.
If you don't do it.
Yeah. And some people are like, well, that's crazy. That's a sickness. It's like, okay, so is eating like shit. So you pick your hard, right?
Right.
Everything's going to be hard. A relationship's hard. Not being in a relationship's hard. Working out is hard. Yeah. Not working out is hard. So everything's fucking hard, right? Any job you have is hard. If somebody's like, oh, I want to be, I know people who are social media influencers, and I look at their lives and I'm like, that to me sucks. Mm-hmm. And getting up every day being like, oh, duh, here's my lunch and breakfast.
Because they're sedentary. They're sitting. They're not out.
Like you're constantly trying to drum up shit. And it really does, make you nauseous. Some people are really good at it. And it's like, those are the people who should naturally do it. For me, I want to get up and go to the gym. Mm-hmm. For somebody else who doesn't want to do that,
it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work.
But you need to find whatever that hard is for you that doesn't feel hard, right?
So let me ask you this. So first of all, you're living a Spartan lifestyle, and I admire that, because I do agree with you that there are parallels with life, athleticism. Mm-hmm. My father was an NCAA tennis sensation. He's going in the Hall of Fame of University of Arkansas.
That's impressive.
You don't know, but I'm a very, very aggressive fisherman.
Really?
Like you have no idea. It's an addiction. So in California, there is striped bass that run the Delta, and around August through October, they boil. it's like a tornado of fish that they're eating all the bait fish. You'll see these things. I saw one jump out of the water and hit a duck. To me, there's nothing more primal is when they do that. I got to hunt them down. I've got the gear. I've got the tack. I got my kids in the boat. I'm telling them, you need to learn to drive the boat. And they go, why? Because I'm about to go get this guy.
Yeah.
It's not work in that sense. It's an addiction. Like you said, it's an addiction.
Now, if you were to ask me, hey, do you want to go fishing? I'd be like, absolutely.
You wanted to?
Not. I think it's so boring. But there's something very primal about it. I understand your passion for it. I love to cook. I enjoy cooking. There's an art form there that I think a lot of people take for granted when somebody's really good at it. But for me, I think, let's just to put it this way. I was talking to somebody the other day about technology and how they think technology is going to take over the fitness industry. I go, at the end of the day, when you get to the upper echelon, I think a lot of the technology is a gateway drug. The Oura rings, the fucking Whoop watches, all that bullshit, the Peloton. That's very entry-level bullshit. Nobody who's really training or looks a certain way, you're going to see on a Peloton bike, right? They're in the gym clanging and banging. They're picking up heavy shit because they understand that to absolutely change your body, there needs to be a certain level of stress that you put on it to make adaptation. So if you look at a lot of these people in the gym, the best bodybuilders in the world, right? Because that's who has changed the way we look at the human physique. They're all in the gym, picking up dumbbells and kettlebells and loading plates on a machine. And there's something primal about there. There's something primal about you going out with your kids fishing. Now, I'm sure there's a ton of technology that helps you find fish and all that bullshit.
So you don't even know, like the fish finders, don't like them.
Yeah. You'd rather do it your own.
No, don't want it.
Yeah.
Don't want it. I'm like, turn it off. My kids are into it.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're newbies, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But no, I love what you're saying because at the end of the day, we're talking about a way of life. For you, it's a Spartan way of life. Now let me ask you, one thing was for you to wrestle, compete, play football. It's another thing when you choose to literally make it your way of life. At what point did you say, I'm gonna take this fitness thing, like this is my thing.
Yeah.
This is my thing.
So when I was on television, I was working out with a bunch of trainers because if I'm gonna go on TV, I have to look a certain way. I could not be in the best shape of my life. So I worked with multiple different trainers in New Jersey. I went out to California. I came into New York. I worked with everybody. That's when I got into like jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. So I go, if I'm gonna look the best, I gotta work with the best. And I really started to fall in love with what they were doing with me. So I learned a bunch in high school and college because I was reading magazines and took a couple classes and I wanted to get a certification. But I didn't take it serious until I was like 25, 26 when I started to be like, maybe I can make a career out of this. And that's when I started to think like life. And I don't know why I thought of this, but I was sitting right out of college or right out of high school, my dad got me a job at Port Newark, which is a shipping yard. So if you know the Bon Jovi song, Tommy used to work on the docks.
Yeah.
I used to work on the docks. And there was a Monday and I was like, I hate this so much. I'm like literally kicking the desk. I'm like having the worst feeling in the world about life. And I'm like, my life is today. It's not just the weekend. I'm not looking forward to just Saturday and Sunday. I want to live right fucking now. What can I do? Where would I be right now if I wasn't sitting at this goddamn desk? I hated it. It was the worst feeling in the world. I had a pen in my hand. I'm like, I'd rather stick this fucking pen in my eye than sit here another hour. So I got up off my desk.
Honestly, I think a lot of my audience can empathize with you. Yeah. That's another reason
why
they're...
But that's why I'm very passionate about it and I was telling the young lady who walked me up here, I said, when you get so fired up about it, that's when you know somebody gives a shit, right? So when you start to really take that rage and turn it into something else, then you can make something happen. But I was sitting there and I go, you know what? I'm gonna go to the gym. I got up, I told my boss, I was like, I'm gonna go take a piss. Have you ever watched the movie Rockstar? He's like, I think I'm gonna go take a piss. And I just never went back.
You didn't go back?
I just never went back. I went to the gym, I worked out. I always think more clearly, feel so much better. During the pandemic, I was like If you asked me what anxiety was pre-pandemic, I'd be like, I don't know, some shit girls get. I don't know what the hell anxiety is. Severe anxiety, freaking out in my apartment. I was like, I'm gonna go for a run. I went for a run. I took my dog down to Financial District, down here. I lived on 26th Street at the time. Ran down here, came up the West Side Highway, came back in. I'm like, all right.
Gorgeous views, by the way.
It was the best day up to that point. And then I came home and I just started writing down ideas. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make sure I get this done. With all this downtime, I'm gonna have enough time to do all the shit I always keep putting off.
Want to be part of our growing community of entrepreneurs and business owners? Join our Patreon and gain access to all of our content, including exclusive videos, Twist of Fate merchandise, and bonus educational content. You can also advertise right on Twist of Fate by joining our ad partner program. Don't have an ad to run yet? That's okay. We can help you by producing a Twist of Fate perfect ad like this one. Check out the show notes and learn how to apply to become an ad partner. And of course, we always appreciate when you like, subscribe, and share. Now let's get back to Twist of Fate.
So for me, it's like, I just have this burning desire to do something great. And I know that it's not gonna happen unless I do it. Mm-hmm. So for everybody at home who's like, oh, well, if this happens, if that happens, if you happen, if you make it happen, then it'll happen. Otherwise, it's never gonna, nobody's gonna show up, knock on your fucking door and be like, here's the body you want, here's all the shit you ever desired. No. When I have clients who come to me and they're like, I wanna meet a guy or I wanna meet a girl, why can't I meet them? I go, take a look in the mirror. I'm not saying this to be a jerk off. I'm saying, look in the mirror. Would you fuck you? Do you want you? No, you're unhappy. So change this. Take care of the little things about you, all those little habits, what you're eating, you're sleeping, going to the gym, doing all the things that you need to do on a daily basis so that the big thing takes care of itself, right? Because you're putting the cart before the horse. You need to fix all this shit so that the big things just become easy. Somebody told me in business, they're like, get really good at making small decisions so that when the big ones come, they just become easier.
No,
and it's so true.
I love it. On that note, one second. I'm breaking the fourth wall, and Kenny is bringing up something that all of you really could learn from. For him to get in the mental space of where he needed to go to start a new life, he had to let go of the old life and to really have keyword time to think. And with all these phones, with all these apps, with all these distractions, if you don't have the time, you're not going to make your dreams come true. So I'm glad you shared that story.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. So you're doing a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. So now, fast forward, you have your own gym, you have clients, celebrity clients, you compete still yourself. Mm-hmm. So maybe you can tell my audience a little bit more about final form. This is now Kenny completely transformed.
I think, and I like being real with people. I hate when I look on social media and everybody's like, I'm living the best life. I have everything I have ever wanted. There is a ton of sacrifice I make. I don't have a family. I don't own anything. My businesses, I don't have them to a point where I could just step back and relax. Or I never really created any of my businesses to one day step away from and let everybody else handle. I like being in the mix. I do shit that I love. Mm-hmm. So I own a gym here in New York. I have a gym in New Jersey. I have, my clothing brand. I have a podcast. I have a huge event that I do every year here. By no means are any of them making a significant amount of money. Like people are like, oh, you have so much shit. Don't be fooled. I'm working my fucking ass off and it's still not even close to making
But you're doing
money.
What you love though.
But I do what I love. Yeah. So my day-to-day is enjoyable. But I'm a tortured soul in the fact that I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing wrong. But I'd rather torture myself doing what I love than sit in a cubicle for somebody else and be miserable on both ends. Because I'm gonna be miserable sitting there, but I'm also not doing what I love. But at the end of the day, I'm like, if this fucking hits, if one of these stupid things that I'm doing hits, well, great, then I could do more. Right? No. Because then I could level up. Because everything I'm doing, I want to level up. I have 2 gyms. I want to make 2 bigger gyms. I have a podcast, I want to make it a bigger podcast. I have an event, I want to just make it bigger, right? Because there's no ceiling to it.
Do you want to reference the gyms? Because there's definitely some audiences here.
Yeah, I mean, I have a gym called the Strength Club. So there's one here on 28th and 5th Avenue, and then I have one in Caldwell, New Jersey.
What's the focus of that gym? Like what type of
Strength only.
Strength
right?
only. Yep.
So
Gotcha.
what we do, and you're now watching, if you pay attention to the fitness space at all, you're now watching everybody kind of turning their steering wheels towards the strength stuff. All these HIIT studios, Orange Theory, F45, any of these big chain places, right? Even like Lifetime, they're Equinox, they're all like, oh, we're going to create this strength portion. And they're putting in, power racks and barbells and all this shit that they never had before. Mm-hmm. They're all like turning because they're like, well, strength's the new hot thing, so let's do that.
Who's dictating this? Because look, there's a point that CrossFit was big.
Society is, right? Everybody's talking about it. Mm-hmm. There's not a talking head, doctor, life coach, trainer, any specialist in the health and wellness world that's talking about anything. They're like, well, you should be eating more protein. You should be lifting more weights. This is shit I've been preaching forever that now people are like, oh, wait, hold on. That makes sense because now there's science to back it up, right? I've always believed in it, right? I've always been the person where I'm like, well, if I want to look like that guy, I got to do what he's doing. And they always had heavy weight on the bar. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, they were all on steroids and shit, but it's at the same time, it doesn't come without hard work. You don't look like that because they're slacking off or they're cheating or cutting corners. They're all playing the same game. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard. And when you get to that top tier, like that level of performance, then you need to do what everybody else is doing.
So in that strength gym, is there a particular, like, are you getting combat sports athletes? You're getting bankers? You're getting a woman that's thinking about self-defense? Like, what type of clientele do you get at that gym?
I always tell people, my youngest client is 3. My oldest client is 83. And everyone at any age could always benefit from exercise.
I love it.
From strength training. You're never too old to do push-ups and pull-ups and squats and deadlifts and all those things, because at the end of the day, all I'm doing is taking the 7 ways your body moves. I'll argue that point to the day I die. You could only move 7 different ways. And now we take that movement and we scale it up or scale it down for people, right? So,
I hear about the 7 deadly sins, but you're talking about the 7 ways to move. This is new stuff.
Yeah.
So what is the 7 ways to move? Like, what are you talking about here?
Well, the human body only moves in 7 different ways, right? We could push, we could pull, right? We could twist, we could move, run, motion, locomotion, they call it, squat, hinge, and lunge. So those are the only ways. So every other movement is taken from that or compounded upon that. So it's like when you see people in a gym and they're like, oh, I do this lunge with a twist. Well, okay, well, you're combining 2 movements. There's no other real way to move. So those are the 7 ways. And now we could take those 7 movements and we could scale them up or scale them down. Mm-hmm. So
build them up. You can make them.
We could load them, right? We could, dummy them down. We could, for instance, like if somebody has trouble lunging, we could put like blocks or something underneath the back knee so it lifts the knee, so your knee doesn't have to go down as far. Or we could assist them with a TRX or some sort of apparatus to hold on to. So those are ways, if you can't perform those 7 movements, then we could assist you in how to get into those movements. And then when you get good at them, now we can load them and challenge them in different ways, whether we put a weight vest on you or pull you with a chain or something from behind, whatever it may be. So,
fantastic.
Yeah. You're going to have to sit on that chair. I want to get you good at sitting on the chair. If you fall down on the floor, I want to get you good at coming up off the floor. You got to reach something on the top shelf. I want to get you good at, pulling something heavy off the top shelf. I want to make people capable. I was flying to...
that goes a little bit beyond strength training, man. We're talking occupational therapy, home therapy. Like, you're kind of really helping people in a variety of ways.
If you think about physical therapy is scaled down versions of exercise, right? Like everybody's like, oh, I do that in physical therapy. I'm like, yeah, well, they didn't invent this. They're just, right? If you think about it, let's just say you tear your shoulder or something. Well, I want to get you range of motion first.
I have done that. I tore my rotator cuff last November.
So I'm guessing.
And I had to battle back as a fisherman.
Yeah.
It became a test of like, okay, do I really like this? Mm-hmm. Well, then I got to build it back up.
But now how do we gamify it to make it more fun for you, right?
Mhm.
So I need to get you range of motion first. So a lot of times a shitty physical therapist, if you ever go to a physical therapist, they lay you on a table and just put electric stim on you, walk the fuck out, find somebody new. What they should be doing is working on range of motion. How far could I move my arm? Then we want to work on balance and stability. Can I stabilize my arm in these positions that I would eventually have to move myself in? After I get that, now I could start to strength train. Now I could start to load that muscle tissue to rebuild whatever is broken. That's low-level strength training. You do an isometric hold, right? Strength training. You put load in your hand, that's strength training. All I want to do is make you a shitty bodybuilder at the end of the day. And I tell everybody that, right? Because you don't want to do this stuff a bodybuilder has to do, but you want to look as close to them as you possibly can.
Right.
So when I break it down,
the least amount of stress and injury if possible.
And when people are like, I want to run to lose weight, I go, all right, go out to the New York City Marathon, stand at the finish line. The first 3,000 people that walk by, I promise you, you don't want to look like any of them. They're all this big, right?
Yep.
They run too much. Most of them, they'll have knee sleeves on and ankle sleeves.
Pretty beat up.
You should strength train as often as you can. Yes, I'm not pushing people away from doing cardiovascular work. You should, right? Different levels of cardiovascular work, high end, low end. And, move as much as you can.
But not that gym. You have another gym for that, right?
What? No, we'll do like some low level, like cardiovascular work. Like I'll put people on the bike for a warm up, 5-10 minutes. We'll do, and the way I program is we do an upper body day, a lower body day, conditioning day, upper, lower conditioning. And then Sundays, I try to push people to take off.
So that's that gym. So let's talk about your other ones. You got more gyms.
No, I just have the two. I had two before that.
So
I had
the
a
strength
CrossFit
one,
gym.
and what's the other one?
They're called Strength Club New Jersey and Strength Club New York.
Got it.
Yeah, so they're both
Got
same. But then my event, I have an event called Strong New York, which is like it's the only health and wellness expo in the tri-state area.
Let's talk about that.
So 2015, I go to Comic-Con every year. I never missed a Comic-Con in my life.
Is that true?
Swear.
You're talking about New York Comic-Con.
New York Comic-Con. Never missed one.
So
I actually used to host a show on MTV Geek for Comic-Con.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was fun. I interviewed everybody from Christopher Lloyd to Stan Lee to Adam West.
Okay, so you should know this. My wife and I have been to 6 Comic-Cons.
Go to San Diego.
3 of them New York Comic-Con.
Okay.
Where we met Stan Lee, Todd McFarlane.
I love Todd McFarlane. You know how many people don't know who he is? And I love his shit. He's
very accessible, actually. Like you just walk around, you walk up and talk to him.
Really?
Oh, he's a nice guy.
He's one of very few people in that world that I haven't met that I'd love to meet.
Oh,
I love his stuff.
So I geek out. Like, so I was a gamer, like comic book nut.
Yeah. Were you ever heavy as a kid?
Never.
No.
You know why? My dad started me in tennis in 3.
Really?
I started men's division at 12. So look,
oh, you were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I could serve 100 miles an hour.
Really?
I'm a little guy.
Yeah.
But it was a way of life, to your point. And look, when your father's your coach, ain't no hiding, right? That means 4 a.m. before school, go to class, 4 p.m. after school with the team, usually 8 p.m. It's like the lights are coming on. Let's rock and roll, baby.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
At the time, did you resent him for that?
Okay. When you are given a gift from a parent or from a loved one that you can't even remember how you learned how to do it, that it gets you in newspapers, when it gets you the girls, like you were saying, it's hard to resent that. I think it was later on where I started to evaluate, is that his love or mine? And as time went on, this is where you'll see he also taught me fishing too, but it was the fishing that I loved, not the tennis.
Yeah.
But I will say this, I'll tell you what tennis did to me. It taught me healthy habits. If I'm gonna go out there at 12 and 13 years old and play against an ATP tournament competitor, 26, 27-year-old man, that every time I return the ball, I feel the vibrations going through there, it means I'm eating a whole chicken. I'm taking over my diet. I learned to cook as a young man because it was like, I'm gonna train to do the impossible. And especially as a black tennis player, every moment you go out there, there's this pressure of when you first walk, people kind of chuckle, does he belong? Does he even know?
Yeah.
Maybe he's in the wrong place. Then when I start thumping that ball, then they know, okay, no, wow.
So you had another axe to grind just to show people.
I think this goes back to kind of what you were mentioning, that it's one thing to see a goal like you want to win a tournament or you want to lose weight. It's another thing when you find the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the best, there's always some other little axe to grind. Whether that is, it's that teacher that wouldn't let you do this. It's that one bully that scarred you for life. And I want to share this because as an entrepreneur, I had this too. Mm-hmm. There's the naysayers, whether they're your employees, whether they're your family members, whether they're your friends, that'll tell you that you're going to fail. But in some ways now I've learned those naysayers, in fact, I hold them now in the highest regard.
I love it. Yeah.
Because they're the ones that told me that I couldn't do this, too short, too weak, too slow. But they don't realize that actually I should thank them because they made me great. Mm-hmm. That's what it was for me. So yeah, tennis, I don't play at all anymore. But that competitive edge that I bring into my professional life, my children's development, that's my way of life.
Back in the day, I think we would have both been pretty decent fucking soldiers.
I think so.
Because when I signed up for an Ironman in 2012, I hadn't trained much. I had just torn my shoulder. And everybody's like, don't go out there. You realize people die doing an Ironman. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I go, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you for telling me I can't do it. And I drove out to Louisville from New York City with my brother. My brother came with me. I drove out there and I'm like, if I fucking die out here, that'll be the best death I could think of. Really. If I have a massive
You're like a
heart
Spartan
attack,
inside.
I'm like, great, let's do it. I'm going to fucking give it everything. And when you finish, I remember crossing that finish line like it was yesterday. I remember and being like, everyone could go suck my ass now. I did it. And before, now everybody's doing these ultra marathons and 100-mile races and all this shit. But then in 2012, nobody, I rarely knew anybody. The two guys standing in front of me in line when I was about to jump in the water were two guys, they were we're former Navy SEALs. They would swim 3, 4, 5 miles off the coast of California, for fun, right? And they're like, yeah, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. I'm like, all right, cool. As long as I'm with these guys, I'm fine. These guys were
real men too.
These guys were like fishes, right? We were so we swam the Ohio River, and you were going upstream for 700 meters. Brutal. I felt like a fucking salmon just trying to get out of the water. And eventually I made it up, and then you come back down, which is great. But I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going.
Is that one of your greatest victories, the Ironman?
I would say so. Just physically, when you put yourself through that much pain and torture and you have that will to win, after you finish something like that physically, you could do almost anything you can. That's why when it comes to business, I'm like, what am I doing? Signing paperwork, dealing with some jerk-off landlord. That stuff becomes infinitely easier when you're willing to torture. I know that if, God forbid, something happened on this island, I could jump in that water and I'll swim
You'll
across.
swim the channel off.
And do you know how many people on this island right now are like, if something happens, they just surrender, they give up. They're like, I can't do it. I'm like, I'll fucking jump in this temperature. I'll jump in there and make it and try, at least try. At least I know I'll try. And there's a lot of people who don't have that's kind of the way I was raised.
I think my friend Kenny, I feel entrepreneurism in business is the same way, which is why you clearly are doing great at it, and you'll probably do it till the day you die.
Enjoying this episode and want more Twist of Fate? Let's do this thing.
I am fierce. I am powerful.
No, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna do it, and we're gonna make our own brokerage with it.
I think your strategy was different.
It's not just me, it's a team. No, we're gonna work with you, and we're gonna walk with you.
Check out over 40 episodes with new ones on the way. Find your inspiration with Twist of Fate. Available to stream on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.
It's the few that dive in.
Yeah.
It's the few.
Yeah.
And you're clearly one of them.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, like, so where, for you, like, you have celebrity clients.
Yeah.
You own businesses. What does success even look like for you anymore? Like, is just, like you mentioned maintenance, but is there a mountain left for you to climb?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I've never had, when I look at the landscape of business, I'm like, I'm so fucking bad at this. I really, like, I don't know what I just hired this girl who's, I admire what she does online. She's much younger than me. She's like 27, 28 years old, and she's really good at, see, that's why when people talk about being black or being a woman, I go, it's about having balls. It doesn't matter what the hell you are, or who you, when you start coming up with excuses, this girl's 27 years old. I just paid her $15,000 to help me kind of shape my business and stuff. I've never had $1 million a year. I'd love to know what that looks like. And I don't even give a fuck to have the money. It's not like I'm buying new shit.
It's another challenge.
It's another challenge for me. So to me, success looks like if I own a few gyms where it's like I could call them home in areas where I just want to continuously visit, and one day I have a massive heart attack at 85 or 80 years old in a gym.
You feel like you
I'm great. I'm good because now to the day I died, I was able to work out. I was able to move. I could wipe my own ass. My father died at 70 years old. And that was in 2019, right before the pandemic. And thank God he died before the pandemic because I don't know how we would have fared during that whole thing.
I'm sorry to hear that though.
Well, you know, he was his own worst enemy. And I remember the countless nights I would leave the gym here in New York and I would drive over to Mountainside Hospital in Montclair. And I'd walk the halls, and I said, there's a commonality between everyone who's in these beds. They were either massive, huge,
cardiac issues.
Yep. Or they were
diabetes,
stick figures, just shriveled up version. I never saw a guy or a girl in any of those beds where I was like, that's weird, right? Nobody in great shape or like looked pretty healthy. I'm like, everybody's fucking dying. Everybody's dying, you know, and there is no encouragement to get them up and move. I'm not a doctor. I never studied medicine, but I'll tell you this, from my aunt, my grandmother, my father, my other aunt, every one of them that I saw rot away from either cancer or stroke or anything, dementia, when they moved the next day, swear as Christ hangs on the cross, if you believe that or not, they were so much better, more responsive, felt better, acted better, you know, moved around better when I had them move. So I have clients who are 3 years old who I can't stop from crawling all over everything. And I have 84-year-old clients who tell me the next day, they're like, I feel so much better after I do this. That's why I keep coming. So if there's not much difference between a 30-year-old who works out and a 30-year-old who doesn't work out. But as you get into your later years, you start to realize and see firsthand how much better you are when you move. So that's why, like, my whole mission is to get as many people moving as possible, to help people understand that, like, that movement will change the way you operate. If I get up in the morning and I feel good, well, I'm gonna be nicer to my wife. I'm gonna feel better about my day. I'm gonna be more confident when I walk into the office. Whatever you do, it will infinitely improve all those things.
No, it's an admirable mission, and the fact that you're willing to. I assume that's when you talk about this on your podcast, right?
Yeah.
Your way of life and all that. Yeah, no, I admire hearing it from you because you're willing to share that part of your life. What we talked about, like what I do in tennis, that's kind of like private party. Like, I talk to my children about it, but I haven't shared it up until this point.
Yeah.
But I really admire that. I'm just curious. Like, I think you have a unique perspective on a variety of things going on. But like, you know, what's your view on like PEDs or like these enhancing drugs? Like, it's cheaping. That's a cop out. That's not like no. Or is that something that like, hey, in certain lines of work, like
I think for a younger demographic of people, you're seeing a lot of these high school, college, 20-year-olds who are using it. I don't think they realize the damage they're doing to their bodies at that age. If you're looking to compete and that's your passion, that's what you want to do, and you're trying to play a sport. Like, for instance, when people would shit on a lot of these baseball players and football players and Lance Armstrong,
Yeah.
they're all cheating. There's a lot of them
Yeah.
who are cheating.
He's not the only one.
He's not the only one. And you're using him as a scapegoat. And I hate that, because if you know you're all doing it, it's always the person who's like, oh, look at him, look at him, look at him. Because you don't want the eyeballs on you because you're doing the same shit.
Let me ask you this. Is it that I agree with you that to use these things responsibly, because some people, if they have a health ailment that if it's prescribed and it's like they need a PED to get up and walk, okay, that's one thing. But to abuse it is wrong. But my question is, but isn't that maybe the next level manifestation? Like they're beyond committed. Like they're like,
listen, if you want to, we encourage people to shoot heroin in the streets here, right? Give them a clean needle, let them do what the fuck they want, shit on the street. If somebody wants to, I'm all for everyone doing whatever they want, as long as it doesn't prohibit other people from doing what they want.
Sure.
If you want to use, like you could only educate people to a certain point, right? You have kids. You could only tell them a certain amount. Eventually, they're going to make their own mistakes and their own decisions. And you could only guide them in a certain way. It's not my place to tell people, hey, I'll give you the education. I'll help you understand what you should be doing. If you want to do that, then do it.
Yes,
But there's
lead the horse to the well, and the horse has got to drink. If they don't,
But everything's a catch-22. You're going to do this, well, this will be the results. And if you don't do this, well, then this are the results. So if you understand both sides and you're willing to take the risk, then let people do it. I think there's a ton of people out there who are living in pain and misery and are afraid to take some sort of dietary drug or whatever it is. I don't think that people should use it as a weight loss program. I think people should use it as a catalyst to get themselves into better habits. Because I have family members, I have friends, I have clients who've gotten gastric bypass surgeries. They've used weight loss drugs. They've done all this stuff. They have yet to address the idea that they need to change their habits.
Sure.
And what I was telling the young lady outside, most people want to change, or the first question I get asked from a lot of clients is, what should I be eating? Everyone in this room, if I held up two pictures, here's a cheeseburger, here's a pizza, which one's better? Or here's a steak and here's, a cupcake, which one should you be eating? Everyone knows what to eat. You have to ask yourself why you're eating so much of it. Yeah. And people don't understand that. And it's a psychological issue for a lot of people, and it's a chemical issue. And that's what we didn't really truly understand before, is that a lot of people have this,
they can't say no.
It's this chemical response. It's an endocrine system problem that needs to be addressed. And sometimes if you address it with these drugs and get yourself to a point where you're like, oh, I'm starting to feel good, that might be the catalyst that a lot of people need to start living a better life.
Hey, Twist of Fate listeners, did you know you can book me, Doug Younger, DY3, to speak at your next event, deliver a keynote, or commencement speech? You know I'll bring all that Twist of Fate energy, as well as my experiences as the founder and CEO of 3 Steps Forward, a marketing company. The accolades that come with being a university adjunct professor, and lessons from my corporate career in Fortune 500 businesses traveling to over 40 countries worldwide. You can also book coaching and workshop sessions for you and your team. Book me using the link below in the description for this episode. Hey, you never know. You may find your own inspiration leading to a twist of fate.
But if you're just using it, where I think it's abused is when you have like these actresses who are 100 pounds already and they look like Skeletor. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck was the point of that?
Yeah,
like,
they didn't need it. They didn't need it. Yeah,
but I mean, I think that's wrong on the doctors.
Well, we from the outside looking in feel they didn't need it. But for all we know, to them,
they felt like they needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, we all suffer from some level of body dysmorphia, whether you think you look great and you're a fat bastard, or you think you look terrible and you're shredded. And I mean, you hear it, every bodybuilder in the world. They're like, I don't think I look that good. And you're like, you just won Mr. Olympia. What do you mean?
I have another question for you, because in a lot of ways, our psychology is very similar. Mm-hmm. Did you watch this Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight?
Yeah.
I mean, Mike's your guy, right? Like
it was so hard for me to watch that, because as a child, playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out, like when he fought, everyone watched it. How old are you?
Yeah, I would have been. Yeah, I'm 40. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm 46.
Okay, so you're a little bit older than I am. I'm 42. Mm-hmm. Growing up,
you know why that is? Because black don't crack.
You look great.
Black don't crack. Yeah. I don't look 46. But.
No, you don't. I would have said you were like 44, 43. But growing up, you know, there are so many, like all this shit that you hear now, even like all the P. Diddy stuff. Like I remember growing up and it's like everything, right? He was everything. P. Diddy. Now it's
all
like,
about the Benjamins.
If you had a kid,
it's American culture, by the way. A lot of the stuff he's contributed.
Yes.
Mike Tyson included.
Yes.
American culture, like.
But now if
we're not the same without it. You can't just erase it.
If we canceled everybody, stop listening to Kanye West. I have a ton of Jewish clients in my gym. Kanye West comes on, they're like, turn it off. I'm like, whoa. Can we separate the music from the guy? If you think he's an asshole, fine, great. He's a whack job. But so is everyone. Michael Jackson was. If I turned off all the music, we'd never listen to R. Kelly. And the crazy thing is, with a lot of the Nazi shit, if you pay attention to like a lot of the 70s, 80s metal rock shit, they were all into that shit.
There was a lot of, I agree with you.
There was like Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue used to wear a SWAT sticker on his arm, and I'm like, he's just as fucking bad. No one ever was like, cancel him, throw him out the window. Like, never play Motley Crue again. You're like, whoa, well, it's the same shit.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So you watch this, but I'm sure from a training perspective, you saw Mike transformed himself. Like, and he's using cutting edge stuff, the stem cell treatment, and he was doing that. Is it FES or like the electrical stimulation things? Mm-hmm. Like, are you rooting for him in that situation, or do you feel that's cheating the system, or you know?
I mean, listen, I'm not going to say I don't think that kid's not doing shit either.
No, right? He's a great fighter, actually, by the way.
Yeah, I think
but a lot of people, they like to hate him.
I think both of them. Do I think he's an annoying fuck? Would I ever hang out with a kid like that? No. I've been lucky enough.
You know, I have a different philosophy on it. He's actually a Clevelander.
Oh, well, yeah.
And we stand back to back. So look, I'm not going to say a whole lot of bad things.
I'm a New Yorker, so I'm a Mike Tyson guy. You know?
Correct.
But like, I grew up with him, and I wanted to see him win. And you know, it's a part of me is being an old fuck. And I'm old, so I want to see an old guy win.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple times where he could have pretty much lit him up. But I think
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I struggle with it a lot because him and his brother, I don't think are that like they're not my favorite people in the world, but they're very talented.
Oh, listen,
to command
he was
that
a
much
wrestler.
Audience.
He's like.
They're not by no means. I said I remember watching WrestleMania like 2-3 years ago when that kid was on, and I was like, he's pretty good. The older brother, like he wasn't a good boxer, but he's a great wrestler. Mm-hmm. Like when it comes to that shit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I would have loved to see.
Would you do that stuff? Stem cell treatment?
Oh yeah, so I've done PRP before.
Okay, so
a bunch. Well,
does it work?
Here's the thing. All they're doing is like they extract the blood. They put in the
you have to explain what PRP. Can you?
Yeah, so PRP is basically like they extract blood from your arm. They put in a centrifuge. It adds oxygen to it, and it separates the plasma from the rest of it. Right? It takes out all the junk, and then they basically just shoot it back into you. And a lot of it is it considered cheating? Yeah. Well, so was smoking weed 3 years ago. It was considered illegal.
Yeah.
Right? Until they made it legal. So you're not. I guess they call it blood doping, but you're not adding it.
What desired effect did you want from PRP? Why do you try it? Is it just like, what the hell?
If I told you why I did PRP, you'd be shocked. It wasn't for anything athletic. I had them take it out, and basically it's considered like a stem cell where it's supposed to regenerate parts of your body. I had them pull it out, and I had them shoot into my forehead to make my hair grow.
Did it work?
No, I fucking wish. I wish it would be.
I think your hair looks pretty good.
No, but it's definitely like, you know how
it's getting thinner.
Yeah, like you can feel your own skin, your own hair, and you're like, shit's changing. Yeah, I'm definitely getting older. So that's why I did it. But I've also done BP157.
Okay, what's that?
It's a peptide. So peptides are just like a chain of amino acids that they put together and that can help you
More muscle growth?
Yeah.
Or
So, well, this one's specifically for, they call it the Wolverine drug. So basically, if like I was having a ton of pain in my elbow, I do jujitsu, somebody bent my arm the wrong way, my elbow was killing me, I couldn't move it. So what they do is that you take this and you could either do it locally or you could do it in your stomach. You do it for the course of like 30 days. And, sometimes it feels like it does change, like you just get rid of those aches and pains. Now,
Did
on
it?
a daily basis, yeah.
it was effective.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like earth shattering. It's not like you're going to break your arm and then just start shooting yourself with this peptide and you're going to put it back together. But it does speed up the process a little bit. And then I started doing testosterone 2 years ago, and it's not for. So what happened was, and I tell
2 years you've been doing it.
2 years,
Is it injection once a month?
once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah, you shoot.
Okay, so how?
So here's how it happened.
You got your machismo back, or did you didn't feel you lost it? Like, why do you don't need a lot of testosterone?
No, so let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
So I was out of nowhere during the pandemic. I woke up one morning and I couldn't move. Literally, I couldn't move. My back was killing me. And over the course of the next 6-8 months, everything started to hurt. My elbows, my back, everything was hurting. So one of my clients was like, "You should get some blood work done, dude." So I was like, that's not a bad idea, because I hadn't done it in a while. I get blood work done at Mount Sinai, and doctor's like, "I think you should go for a CAT scan." I'm like, "A CAT scan? For what?" So I ignored him, whatever. Went to Lenox Hill, got blood work done, went to go see this other doctor. He's like, "I think you need to get a CAT scan." Now this is 2 doctors telling me I need a CAT scan. I'm like, what the fuck do I need a CAT scan for? I go get this CAT scan, because going to get a CAT scan sucks. Going to get any MRI sucks.
For somebody like you, I could
Yeah.
think that.
So, and I have like severe ADD, so the last thing I want to do is be in that thing and start dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
So I go and get it, and they notice I have a cyst on my pituitary gland. So your pituitary gland is responsible for telling your balls to make testosterone. And they're like, "Well, your testosterone level's in the gutter because there's like blockage there. There's no signal." So they're like, "You're a candidate for TRT." And I'm like, how'd this happen? It's very common, and this is why I encourage anybody, men and women, to go get blood work done, because you could tell a lot from a blood panel.
But this is what blows my mind. Like, you have like a high impact life. Like,
Yeah.
you work out like crazy.
But-
Like, what are you talking about? You have no testosterone.
I mean-
you ought to tell the doctor, fuck you. What?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen me in the gym? Like, I mean,
Well, that was the thing. It's like I wasn't recovering. I could still work out, but I couldn't recover as well as I could. And so your pituitary gland is also responsible for making HGH and things like that. So there was no real like recovery process happening after I was working out. So I was just breaking down.
and you just hit a wall. Like, you were in the bed. You were just like,
Yeah, and
your body's like, I'm not moving.
I literally bought all slip-on shoes because I couldn't even bend down to tie my shoes. It was so bad. So I waited another 6 months. So now we're going on almost a year that I haven't done anything. And I'm trying to move as much as possible. And I could get myself out of pain. I was doing exercise and stuff to get out of pain. And then it would just, the next morning, I'd feel it again. So finally, I took the plunge. I went to go see my doctor. She started giving me the shots. Within 6 weeks, 7 weeks, I'm like, I can move again. I felt like I got a second chance at life. So I started working out more than I was before. But there's
That's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like telling people the story because, one, it's like I was always one of these people who's like, I would never do anything. I would never touch anything.
I'd expect you to say something like that.
Like
too.
37, 38 years old, I hadn't done anything. And I competed my whole life. I went from football.
But this made you better.
Yeah. I felt so much better. And here's the thing. If I die at 55 or 85, I want to feel as good as I can up to that point.
Sure.
And if this is helping me feel better,
Sure.
and I'm not a crabby, nasty old, I came off it for 2 weeks. After I started feeling good, I'm like, all right, I don't need it anymore. When I tell you uncontrollable asshole, like I hated myself. So I'm like, I'm just gonna get back on it. I feel better when I'm on it. It levels me out. So it's like taking any other medication. Yes, people abuse it like anything else, but like they want to abuse it, let them do it. I keep my levels.
That doesn't bother you. Yeah.
I keep my levels somewhere between 650 and 750. And I was never an advocate for this shit before. I was like, oh no, I'm always going to be natural. I'm always going to do what I could do. But you get to a point where it's like you're falling apart. It's like saying, oh, I have, cancer or something. I don't want chemo. Well, it's going to help you. It's going to feel better.
True story. And I want to share this with you. My father died of cancer. And this is a guy that he started working out as a child, lifting bricks in a suitcase. That's how he lifted weights.
That's awesome.
Because they couldn't afford anything. So he said, I'm going to put bricks in this suitcase. Started benching it, lifting it, like doing all this exercise. Later on, NCAA tennis like champion, right? Mm-hmm. He worked out every day of his life. This guy even stopped drinking. So look, this guy would go jogging at, when he's 60. He would jog with military, army boots, no
That's
socks.
my type of guy.
And just in the rain, in the snow. If it's a hot day, he's going at the brightest, hottest time of the day. Mm-hmm. This is how he trained me, but I don't train like that anymore. He's, But this guy, when he was diagnosed with cancer, he died within 2 months. He went from looking like he's 65, he looks like my age, to a bag of bones. And he turned to my wife, she's an emergency physician. He said, if you can give me a shot that'll give me all my vitality back, all my strength back, then I'll fight this thing. But if you don't have that solution for me, then I'm off to fight the abyss. Mm-hmm. And, that strength of character, I'll be honest with you, I see that in you today. I see it, and it's not that common. And I think that, if anything, you have shared and have been honest about your perspectives in life, in your own physique, in your client's physique. And, I think you're a rare bird, and we need a lot more of you around. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming out here today.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me. Yeah.
With that, I'll move to my final thoughts, guys. If I got to tell you, Twist of Fate audience, Kenny has shared his way of life, his lifestyle, his perspectives on a better way to live your life. And that I want you to make sure that you understand your entrepreneurial pursuits, your business pursuits, your life pursuits are not so different. You need to find what motivates you. You need to get healthy habits. And if anything, what you can see is maybe you need to find inspirational people that can guide you, nurture you. So in the future, there's nothing wrong with turning to a coach, a trainer, a personal trainer. I hope you check out Kenny. But also, as Kenny shared, if it's PEDs, if it's things that your body needs for you to be whole, then you do them. You do what it takes to stay in motion. Kenny, my friend, thanks for coming on Twist of Fate.
Thanks for having me.
If you like this content, share, like, subscribe. We want to get these great American entrepreneurial stories out to you. And if anything, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next Twist of Fate.
Twist of Fate is hosted by Doug Younger. It's produced by Julian Sepulveda and Zachary Davis at Mode of Motion Advertising and Film. Special thanks to all of our Patreon members. And if you want to be a part of our growing community, join our Patreon and get access to bonus material, Twist of Fate merch, and more. If you enjoyed this episode, please like the video, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.